Bye. See you next time.
Bye.
Yeah.
Have a good trip.
Bye, Novi. Hi, everyone.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Episode 2. Hi, Dad. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Jenny.
First off, we got our first subscriber, and I just want to give a shout out to Cheyenne Hernandez.
Okay.
Don't remember.
Hi, Cheyenne. No. Yeah, thanks for watching the videos. So today we're just going to go over our trip home from Portland back to California. Start off, how'd you feel about Portland?
It was nice. We dodged some hot weather, and when we got there, it wasn't too bad. We were worried about not being able to sleep well because of the weather, but it just turned out we didn't sleep well because of the slant we were on.
Yeah, so my friend's house is pretty much on like a hill. Well, I don't know, the hill.
Yeah,
Anyway, the front of the house is a slant. And so we parked up in front of her house, but it was really difficult to live on a slant. It's hard enough to live in a van, but like when your house is like this, it's really hard to do the normal things like make coffee or even go to the bathroom or even wash dishes. It was really difficult.
Yeah, normally at a campsite, we'll just, if it's a little slanted, we'll put up on blocks or something, level it out, but it was so slanted, like the blocks would just be a waste of time. It wouldn't help at all.
Luckily, most of the day we were at her house.
Yeah.
We were playing with Nova, her daughter.
Hi.
That was the highlight of my trip. Nova is adorable and very smart and very compassionate little girl. She's only 2.5, but I swear she's super smart. My favorite story about her was my friend had explained to her that we don't have a house, that we live in the van, and I think we made a comment like we're homeless, and she equated living in a van, not having a house, to like the homeless.
And she's
in
well aware
Portland.
she's well aware of the homeless situation in Portland. There's a lot of homeless people out there, and
Yeah, so she thought that
we were them.
we were she was so sweet. Like the first or second night we were there, she woke up while she was sleeping in the middle of her sleep at night. I wasn't there, but I guess Corey had overheard her. Like,
Yeah, I was at the dining room table waiting to play games, as we played either cards or board games every night, and I could hear her in the bathroom worried about us. I heard her say, they don't even have soap, or they don't have a kitchen, and we have such a big bathtub. It was just funny to hear from a 2.5-year-old that she's worried about two people that chose to live in a van and all the stuff we don't have.
so sweet. Yeah, but that was really fun spending a lot of time with her, but it was also super exhausting. Like, I don't know how parents do it. I felt like I was on survival mode the whole time. It's just like, get through the day, make sure she gets her nap, make sure she gets fed, and then next day it's like all over again. But we got to do a lot of fun stuff with her. We got to go berry picking. I think that was one of your favorite things,
Yeah,
right?
fresh berries. It was cheap too, but it was really good.
Yeah, so we got to go berry picking, we got to go to the zoo, and then we went on like a little tiny hike at the Arboretum. They live right next to the Arboretum, so that was a really nice place to be able to spend 7 days there. And Corey got to get some gluten-free food.
Yeah, they have food trucks everywhere, and they're conscious about gluten-free problems and stuff like that. So
it was Portland. So we spent 7 days there, and then we had to head home because Corey's nephew Knolan has the World Series for travel ball.
Yeah, 11U Travel Ball World Series.
Yeah. So after we left Portland, we decided to take the coast down because it's colder that way.
Yeah, the middle of California and Central Oregon, they were still on fire, literally and figuratively. It was hot and there were fires breaking out.
Yeah. And we didn't even know it because I don't know, we don't have internet. So after we left Portland, we decided to head to the coast, and our first stop was Cannon Beach. So I had seen Cannon Beach on like Pinterest, and apparently it's famous because they filmed some of the Goonies.
Yeah, there's a couple scenes in the Goonies where the beach overlooks the ocean, and
yeah, Corey was super excited.
Leave it. That's it, guys. That's it. 3 rocks out there.
I've never seen the Goonies.
I tried to I tried to explain the plot, maybe get her to watch it that night, but
Oh,
she,
is that what you're doing?
yeah, she heard me
didn't have
explain it,
internet.
and she was like, "Cool story, bro. Let's move on."
Yeah, well, one of these days we'll watch it. So after we went to Cannon Beach, we ended up staying at the Harvest House for the first night. It was at the Blue Heron Cheese Company or something. So they make brie cheese, and essentially they had like a little petting zoo there, so you can go shopping, pet the animals, go eat some food.
Yeah, it's
Get some Tillamook.
another Harvest Host, and basically we just had to show up, and there's spots available. There's at least 50 spots for RVs, and
Yeah, it
There
was
were-
a good Harvest House.
yeah,
I liked it.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of brie cheese, but in the morning I got like this brie and blackberry jam croissant. It was delicious.
gluten.
Yeah. Sorry. So after the first night, we headed out down the coast again. So I had a couple of stops in mind. The first one was Devil's Punch Bowl. That was okay.
Yeah, we saw a bunch of different sites, and I don't remember this one very well. So
Yeah. And then after Devil's Punch Bowl, it was Thor's Well. So I'd seen this on Pinterest too.
yeah, this one was interesting. The waves crashing around the area made it sound like there's thunder.
Yeah,
It was
freaked me out.
It was loud. Yeah, it freaked her out so much she didn't even go down to Thor's Well. She stayed up on the cliff and let me go down and explore.
Yeah, because you have to go down and there's waves really close, and I wasn't about to get swept away into the sea just to see Thor's Well.
Yeah, but up close it was awesome. Like, it's a hole, and the waves come in and fill this hole up, and then in an instant it just flushes out like a toilet. It's just gone. And it does it over and over. It's
We missed it because I think it'd be better if it was on high tide, right?
Yeah, it was low tide when we were there. I guess high tide, you get the waves crashing over the top too. And
That's a no for me. So after Thor's Well, we ended up camping out at a Cape Perpetua campground. We got lucky. We got a spot there. I feel like there was a lot of spots when we got there.
yeah, there are a lot of spots there. This one was pretty cool because every site was along this little river, and each one had like a picnic table, like your own secluded picnic table. That's what
Yeah.
I think that's what she liked a lot.
Yeah, so it's like we parked up on our campground, and then there was like, it was pretty much surrounded by trees and foliage. I don't know if that's the right word. But anyway, it's surrounded by trees, and you have to walk into your campground, so it felt like you were like alone in the woods when in reality there's people next to you. It was really nice. I'd like to spend more time there. I think that was
Might
good
get to.
place. Yeah. So we ended up Cape Perpetua, and the next morning we woke up and drove down the coast again. So we hit up the Heseda Head Lighthouse. Corey's not really a fan of lighthouses, apparently.
I don't get the lighthouse thing.
It was
So
nice.
we don't even have pictures of it. I'm sorry.
That's true.
We were walking both dogs and our other dogs, so I
Yeah.
was busy with them. And
Yeah, I think if we had more time, I would have like spent a little bit more time there and like read up on it. But
a lighthouse is a lighthouse. Is a lighthouse.
anyway. So after Heseda Head Lighthouse, we headed to Flores Lake State Park. I didn't know much about it, but apparently it's like a good place for windsurfers.
Oh yeah, that one. It was super windy, but
Yeah.
from the campsite you could just walk maybe 20 feet and you could see over the water where all the kites and the windsurfing's going on. So
Initially, we were going to a different campground. It was Edson Campground, but we drove in and
yeah, it was pretty sketchy. It was a campground, but it looked like it was where people are living. I didn't felt safe, but I didn't feel comfortable. So we took off and we just got lucky and found this one down the street.
yeah, the Voice Camp or something. Anyway, yeah, it was a good place to stay the night. It was a family-friendly
Yeah. And there's showers.
Yeah, there's showers. Oh, sorry.
You tickle me.
So after we spent the night at Flores Lake Campground, we headed to the Natural Bridges. It's like at the tip of Oregon, I guess. And we were able
The
to
south
do
side.
yeah, the southern part of Oregon. We did this hike to a natural bridge. I thought it was a really cool hike. It was super scary. I'm not afraid of heights, but this one made me very afraid of heights.
Yeah, when you first get there, there's a walk down to a platform. You could overlook these bridges, but there's also a little hike to get to the bridges, and it's pretty steep down like a wooded area, then steep again down towards the natural bridge, and it at the bottom part it's like loose sand, so you could easily slip. I could see someone falling over the edge, so I get it. And then there's water for her, so you have heights and the water combined. Probably not.
Yeah,
not
and
fun.
I was wearing Converses, which had no traction, so I was pretty terrified. But it was cool. I made it to the bottom. I didn't die. Yay.
Hiking-
Yay.
Hiking shoes, they work.
Hiking shoes. Yeah. So after the Natural Bridges, I believe we crossed the border into California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we crossed the border, there were agricultural checks, and throughout the whole time in Oregon, all the stuff we had accumulated, like the fresh fruit and everything,
Salads.
yeah, the salads, we just made sure we ate all that before we got down there. And I wanted to go berry picking one more time before we left, but we didn't want to throw away all that food. So we get to the crossing, and the guy asked, "Do we have any produce in the van?" And I said, I think we have one onion left. And he kind of giggled and just said, "Okay, move on." And
You know, not everybody like onions.
at that point I was like, man, I could have brought all these berries over.
Yeah.
But
Next time.
yeah, next time we'll get caught, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know, what's the penalty if you get caught?
I think they just throw it away. But
Oh, okay. Cool. Okay, so we ended up crossing into California, and I think I made a mistake because we headed straight down to Eureka, or Blue Lake, right around that area, because that's where I found a harvest host, the Blue Lake Casino. But because I just wanted to get to California, that way the drive won't be as long. But I really wanted to see the Redwood National Park, and I didn't do my research beforehand because there was no internet. But apparently the Redwood National Park is a couple of different state parks and a national park all combined.
yeah, they were all state parks before and a national park, and they just figured this will all make it one system.
So I ended up driving through a bunch of the state parks and not seeing them because I didn't know that that was the actual park. So we just ended up staying in Blue Lake.
You see the
Casino, but-
Blue Lake Casino, it's not a harvest host, it was one that you pay for.
Sorry, yeah. you're right.
Yeah, we passed up a harvest host one to get to this one, and maybe we should have just stayed at the other one, but it was a short drive and we figured we didn't drive enough that day.
Yeah.
So what we did, we stayed at the Blue Lake Casino.
Need some money?
It paid for itself because they gave us free comps and we ended up winning money. But then the next day we went back north to backtrack and see what we missed, and it was worth it, like
Yeah.
seeing all the trees and learning.
Ginormous trees.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next day we ended up at the Redwoods National and State Parks. We went to the visitor center, and I always like going to the visitor center and talking to the park rangers because I feel like they give you a good idea of what to do. And so basically they suggested Fern Canyon. That was a beautiful place. It's just like a half-mile hike. Highly recommend it. So you drive in, and this part of Northern California, I feel like it's really special because you're gonna drive through the forest with these huge trees, and then you turn the corner, and then like you're at the beach, and then you hike in a little bit, and you find yourself in this Fern Canyon, and it looks kind of like you know how celebrities have like weddings or events, and they have this wall of plants. That's kind of what it reminded me of, but like the real thing. And I wish I could have spent more time there, but we were trying to get down to catch the game. But next time we'll hit it up and like spend a whole day there. Yeah. And then also from the Fern Canyon, we wanted to do another hike, Trillium Falls, and on the way there was like a stopover.
Yeah, we saw a bunch of elk. They're just laying there. The first day we saw them, and they were just laying there, and people were taking pictures, and they were eating grass and just chilling. And then the next day, we see them again, but on a different field, and they could care less that we were there. They didn't know I want to try elk, but yeah, that's one more animal to check off the bucket list of what I want to see as far as wildlife. But yeah, they were right there up close, within 20 yards, 30 yards of us, so that was cool to see.
So after we saw the elk, we did another little hike. It's like to Trillium Falls. It's just like a 1 mile hike. Just another waterfall.
The hike was better than the waterfall. There was no real payoff. It was like a little tiny trickle of water.
I liked it.
It didn't compare to all the other waterfalls we saw coming up, so it's
not like big and huge, but it was nice. I thought.
Maybe it looked smaller because all the trees are so huge.
Yeah. So that ended that day with that hike, and then we ended up going back to the casino, spend another night there, because the next morning we drove through the Avenue of the Giants.
Yeah.
That was really cool. I highly recommend that.
Yeah, there's big trees.
How big are the trees?
Huge.
The size of these trees are so big that Venus didn't respect any tree after that. They were basically, unimpressive trees. Like,
try again.
What, was God even trying here? Like, she did not respect anything else afterwards.
It was just like, I feel like I was spoiled with those huge, impressive trees, but
yeah,
no, what are you gonna do?
They're huge.
Huge. So the Avenue of the Giants, it kind of reminded me of like the Lord of the Rings, if anybody's ever watched it, where it's there's a part where the hobbits meet up with like the trees, slow moving trees.
Tree? I am no tree.
That's kind of what it feels like. You can't really capture how big these things are on camera. You just have to go look for yourself, because it's just like amazing.
Yeah, we have a few pictures of us next to like the roots of the trees, and we have a few pictures of the trees laying on the ground, but like with anything else, pictures don't do anything justice. Like once you're there, you realize, wow, they're like this big compared to everything else.
And these trees are like 2,000 years old.
I think somewhere.
Yeah. So they've been there long before you, and they'll probably outlive you.
Yeah.
By a lot. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and they have a root system that's really shallow compared to their size. It's only like 12 feet deep, and these trees are upwards of like 350 feet tall. And what they do to hold their strength to stay up is they intertwine their roots with other trees in the area. The only problem with that is when one falls, like what happened in the 90s, I guess one of these trees fell, which caused another fall, which made like the biggest tree in the area fall, and that one was laid across the ground. And it's mainly because one tree fell, then it's like a domino effect.
That's sad.
Yeah, and then right next to that there was another tree that had fallen after that huge tree fell, and this one didn't just fall, it cracked and splintered everywhere. It looked like Home Depot spilled their lumber out in the parking lot, and it just scattered everywhere. But I'd never seen that. I didn't think that's how it happened, but I guess.
Yeah. And then after we did the Avenue of the Giants, we ended up spending the night at one of the pull-offs down the one.
Yeah.
So we use iOverlander, which is an app that shows you where people have slept the night. So the next morning we woke up and we ended up at a place called the Russian Gulch State Park. That was another cool little stop.
Yeah, this one had another like sinkhole, but it wasn't on the like the what's the other one? The Devil's Punch Bowl was right on
coast.
The coast, yeah, where the water is. This one was a little more inland. There's a little more land before you got to the cliff, and it was just a sinkhole, but there was still water being fed from the ocean. So at high tide, I guess you can't even see where the water's coming in, but at low tide you could see where it goes in and out. You can see there's a line of water inside the ring where basically how high it gets up to.
That was really cool. So after the Russian Gulch, we kept driving down the one, and we got hungry, and we found this really cool overlook.
Yeah, going down the one, you go into like the forest, and then you climb up, and then all of a sudden you're on the beach, and you don't know how you just went up like 6 or 7 miles on an incline, and you end up at sea level. It's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
And then you turn back in, and there's the forest, then turn back up, and boom, there's the beach, and then like it's confusing while you're driving. Like, what? I've just went from all this forest to all this sand, and it's different.
Yeah, it's really cool. So after we made lunch, we kept driving until we ended up in San Francisco, and we ended up spending the night at one of the vista points, literally right next to the Golden Gate Bridge. And we had stayed there before, and
it's a rest stop, so you can stay overnight without any problems there.
The only thing was it was really windy, so the van kind of shook.
We got rocked to sleep.
And then it was cold apparently. I don't know, I stayed in the van.
I'd take the dogs out before bedtime, and it was like misting and windy, and this is middle of July. I don't know why it's so gloomy and cold, and I understand why.
I like it.
I understand why Giant fans are so miserable. And it's just, yeah, I get it now. Sorry for being mean to you guys.
So we woke up next morning, took a picture of the Golden Gate Bridge, and then head to Morro Bay because that was our next campground. So Morro Bay has a huge rock by the beach.
Again.
But what did you think of Morro Bay?
The rock was huge. We had some seafood. It was okay. We didn't stay. We just stayed one night and finished up the last video. So thank you for the internet.
That's one good part.
Yeah.
We had internet. That's cool. Yeah. So now we're back home. We got to Knolan's Game and Time. We got to see everything.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna end up having to work 2 weeks.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
My crown fell out.
Am I missing a tooth? Oh.
So I gotta go to the dentist too. So that's fun.
Hopefully it'll be done before we leave, but we'll see.
Yep. So we're heading up to Yellowstone, and it's gonna be hot unless we find another route. Well, hopefully we might go back up the coast and take the long way, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So that's it for this video.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Okay. Enjoy the bloopers.
No. No.
Get a better understanding of how tall they are when they're laying sideways on the